Good afternoon, my friends. This is Paul, and today I'm going to be reviewing to you Tetris Effect Connected for the Nintendo Switch. Before I get into anything else, let me just say that people with epilepsy or photosensitivity should not be playing this game, and you probably shouldn't even be watching this review because this game isn't for you anyway. So I'm sorry that I had to kick you out, but I really don't want to have you fainting or falling over or having to go to the doctor because of this game. For those of you that can tolerate all this sensory overload, let us proceed. Tetris Effect Connected is a port of a PS4 game in which they took the concept of Tetris and tried to make it really over the top and flashy and really trying to make it a sensation more so than an actual game. But before we get into the main game, let's talk about where the subtitle Connected comes in. It basically boils down to there being a new multiplayer mode called Connected, where you can get 3 different people to cooperate against bosses that have various abilities that they can use on the players, such as making the pieces fall faster, preventing them from rotating, building up garbage blocks, and more. However, every now and then, the players' Tetris boards will merge together into a giant Tetris field, where you'll have these humongous line clears that you can do massive damage on the boss. I found that this mode was okay. It encouraged cooperation, which is something that you don't see a lot in Tetris games without feeling like you're really disconnected from each other. But I found that there was usually some lag in when I would want to do a hard drop. Maybe it was because they wanted to account for the other players potentially being a bit slower. It was just something I didn't really want to dabble in a whole lot. A few other multiplayer options are there's a zone attack, where you can use the new zone mechanic more frequently. There's a score attack, and then there's a classic score attack, where you play with the rules of Tetris on the Game Boy. I did not even touch that last one because I never played the original Tetris on the Game Boy, but I heard that it's not very fun because you can't put a piece in the hold queue. Now on to the main game. So the basic bulk of Tetris Effect is that there's a journey mode in which you go through various Tetris stages of sorts. And during these stages, as you play the usual game of Tetris by taking various pieces in the shape of 4 blocks and trying to fill up a line, you'll gradually make the background and the sound effects and the pieces more and more alive. In the first stage, it takes place underwater, so you might hear a little bit of splashing at first, then you'll hear some light vocals, and then you'll hear intense vocals, and then you'll see sharks flying everywhere. And the game just never stops putting you in these scenarios where you've got wild and wacky things going on, from a tornado to fire effects. It's a real treat for the eyes. Now, you might want to be very careful about how you go through the options menu, because I'm not generally the type of person that gets overwhelmed when I play video games. Usually if there's a lot of spectacle and if the game feels epic, I really like it. However, in the default settings, the rumble can be a bit intrusive. Normally I love rumble when I play games, and this effect and this connected version actually gives you the option to enhance the rumble with the Switch's HD rumble capabilities. I found that after I turned it off, the game was slightly more manageable. So there's definitely plenty of options to help make sure that you're not overwhelmed by everything. I think if you're suffering from something like autism, you might also want to be very careful of this game, as I can see that easily causing sensory overload. That being said, if you can put up with all of this, it's really mind-blowing how much this game just really makes you feel like you're in a variety of different genres while at the same time still being Tetris. A couple of times I felt like I was at a Matt Maher concert because the lyrics just sounded like something that you would hear at a Catholic conference. Sometimes I felt like I was supposed to be meditating. And I just think that the music and the sound effects do such a great job of conveying so many different emotions. There's also a handful of single-player modes that you can play apart from the journey mode. You have the option of even selecting a playlist of various effects that you want. And there's an unofficial in-game soundtrack player, as you can select what music plays on the menu of the single player options. For some reason, I really preferred the first track. I believe it's just simply called Connected. And it sounds like something that I would want to play on my channel as like a motivational piece, because I do think that as Catholics, we are all connected in various ways, in one way or another. That's a topic for another day because that's pretty involved. But it's just so nice that people of so many different faiths and religions and experiences can all come together through the music and effects. And each person can have a different experience, yet as long as they enjoy Tetris, then they should be fine. Now, obviously, since this game is Tetris, it's gonna highly depend on how much you want the effects, as there's other Tetris experiences on the Switch. The two I can think of off the top of my head are the Puyo Puyo Tetris games and Tetris 99. And Tetris 99 has more Nintendo fan service. It has the Battle Royale element. Puyo Puyo Tetris has the, well, Puyo Puyo elements in it. And the second game has Sonic fan service. Speaking of Tetris 99, I found that that was one thing that kind of bothered me a little bit when I played in multiplayer, as with the exception of one time, I have never lost when playing a score attack mode against an online person. They try to match you up based on skill, but I felt like I would always clobber my opponent because I've actually come in first place on a handful of occasions in Tetris 99. And I wish there was a way that, because both games are on the Switch, that maybe there was an option where you could give yourself like a medal or a title that says like, I've played Tetris 99, watch out, or some way of warning people. Other Switch games have done this, such as Persona 5 Strikers, where you get the original version of Last Surprise if you have Super Smash Bros. Ultimate save data, so I hope that that gets fixed in a future bug so that people could say, what? This person's only a level 1, but they fight like a level 12? Admittedly, it makes me feel like I actually stand a chance against online randos, but I still wish that I could give my opponents at least, like, know what they're getting into so maybe they can back out if they actually are a newbie. Thankfully, if you don't want to go against randoms, you can also play locally, and you can set up a friend match. Albeit, I can't think of anyone else in my friend circle that likes Tetris, so I had to resort to loners. But the good news is that people who picked up the original Tetris Effect get an update so that they can experience all the extras that Connected has to offer. And you can also play cross-platform, so everyone else on the other systems can still be able to play with Switch users just fine. So with that, if you're able to tolerate the various effects, which you probably can if you're watching this video, then I would recommend Tetris Effect Connected. However, keep in mind that there are other Tetris games on the Switch, so you probably don't need a whole bunch of different ones, as at the end of the day, they're just Tetris. This game does set itself apart by one power-up, though, which I almost forgot to mention, which is called the zone mechanic. After a while, a meter on the side of the screen will fill up, and after you press the right trigger, then it's kind of hard to explain, but basically, the blocks turn white, and then you'll have the option to, like, fill up multiple lines at a time to have a massive line clear that might be even bigger than what a standard Tetris will allow you. It does make the music kind of muffled, so you might not want to use it unless you're really, really struggling on a match. So that's one new feature, but otherwise it's a pretty standard thing. It doesn't really offer a whole lot of newness in Tetris unless you, I don't know, want to go into the connected multiplayer mode and do more cooperation. So with that, I say do your research. But if you don't want to get Tetris 99, which is free, and if you don't want to get the Puyo Puyo Tetris games, which are much cheaper, then Tetris Effect Connected is pretty neat. It's definitely going to provide a very interesting experience, but it's also still Tetris. Like, despite all the special effects, it's still going to be the same game at heart. So don't expect that just because you're in a sandstorm that's going to make the pieces be affected by the wind or anything like that. So with that, thank you very much for watching. If I left out anything, if you have any comments or questions, please let me know down in the comment section. And until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, God bless, and let's all stay connected. Bye!